Code of the Siegebreaker, otherwise known as Bottom Tree Solar, Titan is a tree that I've really taken to lately. Titan is not my favorite class to play. I get really bored with it, but I do have a lot of Titan friends, which makes sense because as a Warlock main, if you have a good Titan and a good Warlock who know how to work together, it can be an unstoppable force. It's a lot of fun. I just prefer to play the Warlock. But as someone who plays all classes, I really had to come into my own on Titan, and it took me quite some while to discover a tree that I really enjoy. And I never really tried Bottom Tree because when Forsaken came out, Middle Tree was all the rage. Well, one day I actually read all the trees, and I thought, this is more ability focused. I like ability builds. Let's see what we can do. This is just a fun tree, and it's also a really good tree. As someone who solos most content, even just regular strikes, I really struggled with the other trees. And this thing I felt just really upped my ability to be able to complete all of this content on my own without dying. And that's really the key. A lot of people who don't main Titan have a major issue with survivability. So not only is this a solar build, but it's a survivability build that also maximizes the use of abilities. Not really what most of my Titan friends are used to, but try it. You might like it. With Code of the Siegebreaker, you have Hammer of Soul. Summon a flaming hammer and wreak destruction down upon your enemies. When it comes to the grenades, I mean, honestly, I think I'm using Incendiary Grenade because I am completing an account triumph. I don't know. I don't really like any of these grenades. You can try Thermite, which is like the Void Wall grenade. It just... When it explodes, it just creates a line of fire, which, you know, that's cool. Use it for zoning. I stopped using it in PvP because I just couldn't get anyone with it. Fusion grenades, a lot of people are a huge fan of fusion grenades. They stick to the target. So if you can get it to stick, and that didn't always happen for me, it can be a great thing, but it doesn't always kill the enemy. So I just wasn't really happy with this one either. Incendiary kind of works like a launch and release grenade launcher. So like you throw it, it can bounce on the ground. Get used to aiming for the ground in front of your target. And when you nail it, oh my gosh, this can be such a great grenade. Barriers. Rally Barricade used to be amazing. It's a half barrier, and if you crouch behind it and then you aim down sights, your character will peek right over the barrier. What we used to use this for was reloading. It worked like Lunafaction boots. You didn't have to reload the gun as long as you used Rally Barricade, and then they got rid of that. So we all got rid of our Rally Barricades and opted for Towering Barricade instead. This is great because it just blocks damage. In PvP, you can stick it to corners so you can peek around a corner without taking a risk and just see where the enemy is. So I've been favoring this much more. I really don't see Rally Barricade anymore. I think I saw one last month. Like that's how rarely people are using it on PC. Bottom Tree Solar, Code to the Siegebreaker. We have Soul Invictus. Solar ability kills restore your health. Grenade, melee ability, and Sun Warrior kills leave a deadly sunspot in their wake. So basically any ability kills are going to leave sunspots. This is really what this build is around. Like, we're all about the sunspots here. Endless Siege hammers create a sunspot on impact. While standing in sunspots, you throw hammers faster. Sun Warrior, passing through a sunspot, causes your grenade and melee abilities to recharge faster, and your super to last longer. It also increases the damage your weapons deal. I use this mostly for ability recharge. Like, it recharges really fast, too. So you'll often see me standing in sunspots just kind of waiting, and if there's enemies in the area, I might wait for them to peek and shoot them because, again, it increases damage. So sunspots, let's be clear about this. They greatly increase the recharge rate of your abilities. They increase weapon damage. You know, as long as you're standing in them, they increase your weapon damage. And then for the super, it causes your super to last longer, and it allows you to throw your hammers faster. Mortar Blast, strike an enemy with this melee ability to release a solar explosion, setting nearby enemies on fire. Now, with the exotic that I chose for this build, this may be a little overkill, but nah. Not for those of us who like ability builds and explosions. And, well, that's another thing this build features. There is an exotic that you can use. I believe it's called Phoenix Cradle. I think those are the legs. If you use Phoenix Cradle and you're playing with a fire team, they can get all the benefits of your sunspots as long as you have that exotic on. But for me, that's not really a fun exotic, and they can do their own thing. So I prefer to use Severance Enclosure, and we'll get into that in a moment. A lot of my friends don't really know much about this, and they don't use it, but they definitely notice it when they play with me. Let's start with the helmet. My helmets are pretty much the same across all my characters. I have firepower, and I have the ammo finder for my heavy weapon, and then I use ashes to assets. If ammo isn't an issue, and honestly with swords, it's usually not, I often just put two ashes to assets on if I have enough points. Now, this is a turquoise mod this season because this is included in the seasonal artifact, but it will be a gray mod next season, and it'll be 3 points. So you can see right here that I have 3 points left over, so I would really only be able to use 1 ashes to assets next season with probably my ammo finder. Now, I like ashes to assets because it allows me to gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Guys, this makes a huge difference, and yes, these stacks. Firepower is our Charged with Light mod. While Charged with Light, regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use your grenade, consuming 1 stack of Charged with Light. Again, I use this on all of my ability builds. I love firepower. Grenades are so important for ability builds, mostly because grenades feed your super. With ashes to assets, like, these two should always be together. 100%. If you want to use your super, you should probably have these 2 mods. I'm just saying. On the arms, I put in Take in Charge. Now, whenever you pick up an Orb of Power, this will give you 1 stack of Charge with Light. So that feeds the orange mods. The green mods will give you stacks. The yellow mods will use a stack or more, depending on the mod itself. I was using this Titan for... Now, I must have been running this Titan in Nightfall or something because I do have an Overload mod on. I really don't have room for another impact induction, so I probably just left it there for that. I don't have room for anything. Yeah, so it's a placeholder. Like, it's there when I need it. But this right here, impact induction, causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. So this will work in tandem with firepower, which we have on our helmet, to charge that grenade. And then, of course, we have on the bottom tree, if you stand in a sunspot, which is created by ability kills, that will also recharge your ability. So, guys, you really shouldn't run out of grenades with this. You should always have grenades in melees. It's insane. Severance Enclosure is my favorite Titan exotic, and honestly, I've been using this for all the subclasses lately. I just really don't enjoy them. I do have a great Helm of Stain 14 that I've used for Bubble, and of course, Banner Shield I will use Ursa Furiosa's, it just makes sense, but I don't really do Banner Shield that much. Again, lots of solo play. But this is just too much fun. Why? Because powered melee final builds unleash a damaging explosion, and then finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the radius and damage of the explosion. So while this says that finishers and final blows against the targets increase the radius and damage of the explosion, I think one thing we need to correct here is it's not just powered melee final blows that create an explosion. Finishers also create that explosion, and they don't have to be powerful enemies. I use more finishers on my Titan than any other character by a long shot because of the explosions. This is probably the best ad clearing exotic I've used. Because melees are part of the ability part of it, heavy-handed is the Charge with Light mod that I use on the Arc chest armor. That's only available on Arc. While Charged with Light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability. Honestly, I feel like you get more than half back. It's insane. This will consume only 1 stack of Charged with Light. And then the bonus perk for this mod is while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or SMG adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. And note that this mod is active when at least one other Arc mod is socketed into this armor, or when you're using at least one other Arc Charged with Light mod. Now, if you've noticed, I popped Arc Resistance in here just to proc that for me. Doesn't really matter. I could do sniper resistance. Oh, I have that right there. I could do concussive dampener. It really depends on the situation. And all the rest of my armor is solar. So we would have to have this here to take advantage of the secondary perk with the SMG. On the legs, I love solar legs for Titans. Again, survivability is really a struggle for people who do not main Titan. The reason why I like solar, there's also a healing mod on void legs, but like the reason why I like solar is because it's instant. When you use recuperation, it replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power, and it's significant. I think you get like maybe half of your health back. So if you're using masterworked weapons and you've taken a lot of damage, if you can safely get to an orb of power, you're going to heal up right away. You don't have to wait for regen. It kind of negates the need for having high recovery. Innervation reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. So again, we're feeding grenades like crazy in this build. Having our abilities is not an issue. Now, because we're using some fun charge with light mods like firepower, we want to keep active at all times. Heavy-handed, we want to keep active at all times. And and then we have Heal Thyself. We want to get as many stacks of charge with light as possible. Now, I'm only using supercharged. If I had charged up on another piece of armor in conjunction with this, we could have up to 5 stacks of charge with light. This will give you 1 additional charge. We're only using supercharge though, so we can have up to 4 stacks of charge with light. That's fine. Just keep making orbs. Use the masterworked weapons and you'll be fine. And the mark, I'm currently using a solar mark. Most of the class items I use on my characters are going to be solar because of this right here, Bomber. Bomber reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Guys, we are feeding grenades like crazy. Now, we could do double Bomber, but we do have a seasonal mod. And mind you, double Bomber is amazing. I use it almost all the time on my Warlock. However, the nice thing about Titan this season, especially if you're running the class sword, Energy Accelerant is an incredibly useful mod that you get on this season's artifact. I believe it's in the last column, so you kind of have to like purchase a ton of other mods first before you can get to it. But with Energy Accelerant, your Dragonfly, Chain Reaction, and Firefly explosions deal more damage. But there's more, guys. There's more that some people figured out that there seems to be some intrinsic traits in some weapons that don't really have Dragonfly, Chain Reaction, or Firefly. We'll get to that in a moment. Heal Thyself. While you are charged with light, grenade final blows heal you and consume 1 stack of charged with light. Now, I only use this mod on my Titan because, again, like most people who don't main Titan, we have a hard time staying alive. So not only do Orbs of Power from the leg mod heal me, but grenade kills heal me. This Titan does not die. She's amazing. All right, those are the mods. Let's talk about Energy Accelerant real fast. What some people have noticed, and I know Aztecross did a video with all the different weapons that cause explosions, is that Crown Splitter is affected by Energy Accelerant. And it's because of the heavy attack. So if you do your light attacks and then you right click or whatever your command is, controller, whatever, when you launch your heavy slam attack, that will release a burst of energy that Energy Accelerant does affect. So I'm rocking this Crown Splitter and I really like it. There's a couple rolls that I like. One friend of mine has Whirlwind Blade. This for me is, I'm very happy with this roll though. Jagged Edge, Heavy Guard, Relentless Strikes, and Vorpal Weapon. I never liked this sword, and then I got this as my first drop this season and absolutely love it. This thing's amazing and it's really powerful. And with Energy Accelerant, it's just highly entertaining. The other weapon that's affected by Energy Accelerant on this build is Sunshot. And the intrinsic trait with Sunshot is Sunburn. This weapon fires explosive rounds and highlights targets that take damage from Sunshot. One of my first videos is a Sunshot video. The quality isn't quite as good, but I will put the link in the description below. And just as a side note, this is 100% my favorite weapon in the game. It's gorgeous, and I have some slow-mo shots of it in that video. Just watch the gun and then watch the explosions. It's amazing. This is Bungie's best work, in my opinion. Okay, so the fact that we have the mod that has the secondary perk that's affecting fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearms, or submachine guns. I do often use a fusion rifle with this character, but I want to use the sunshot and the sword because of energy accelerant. And again, you don't have to use energy accelerant for this build. Like this is an ability build. Energy accelerant does nothing to contribute to building up the abilities, but I do like to tighten up my builds, and for my purpose, when I go test this out for you guys to see the gameplay, I think, yeah, let's take advantage of it. So I'm going to use Destiny Item Manager to pop an SMG over. Boom. There we go. And we're going to equip that. Oh my gosh. The green. The green is real. There we go. Matches my Titan. This is an excellent SMG. It has fluted barrel, tactical mag, overflow, and rampage. It's simply amazing. Severance Enclosure, the loop is made over and over until the collision. At that moment, severed fission. Explain to me how it works again. It pulls small particles of your light as you use it and loops it at increasingly higher speeds. Why would I want my light taken away? This sounds like a terrible piece of equipment. Close your mouth and listen. It does that until you strike something. Good. This is better. Then what? Go on. Then it whips the light particles into each other at high speeds, causing a delayed fission reaction. Why is it delayed? Let's move on. Okay, could you just sum it up for me? Punch something and an explosion will happen where you struck. Wonderful. Won't that hurt me? If we're lucky, I'll be able to work that into the design specs. One of my favorite places to test builds is in Trostland on the EDZ. You will get the enemies moving against each other in this part of the map, and it can get a little intense. So we are going to wait for that to happen, and then you can see the build. Notice the finishing moves and the explosions from the melees. Those are because of Severance Enclosure, although the melees do unleash an explosion because of the tree that we're on. And then take note how the different abilities, especially when I'm charged with light, will feed other abilities.